Maria Shugantseva Hennig, an 11 essay about the artist, written by the artist herself in German, translated into English by Deeple Translate, read aloud by the artificial intelligence voice of Gwyneth Paltrow on Speechify, and backgrounded with music from the artist's Yoga Puro playlist on Spotify. At first, listen to the key core quotation. Love. What is love? Love prevents death. Love is life. Everything I understand, I only understand because I love. Everything that exists only exists because I love. Everything is connected through it alone. Love is God, and dying for me means being part of love, returning to the whole and eternal source. Lev Nikolaevich Tolstoy, 1828–1910. Maria Sergeyevna Shugantseva was born in the first heavy snowdrift of October 81, which still seemed golden on its third day. She left her mother's stressed womb pretty premature and came into the world as 57 troy ounces of pure survival in the middle of nowhere in far, far, far away Siberia. Daughter of an eternally shining firebird and a mirror-inverted charismatic hydrologist, she combined these two streams of life within herself. These handed-down life streams were as different in character as the famous yin and yang, or, in her case, as contrary as the raging mountain rivers Shumac and Artish the Black, which is the longest tributary on Earth and the original source of her basic heritage. Her parents' two rivers of being were in turn fed vehemently and steadily, for centuries from the many sources of all ancestors from west and east, from Austria-Hungary, Belarus, Central Russia, and the pre-Mongolian steppe. Until puberty, she grew up in a tiny new-built socialist housing estate with 44 Minecraft blocks, 2 kindergartens, 1 school, 1 little library, and a cultural center. She used to spend her holidays in the nowhere exile of Briatia's villages, fields, and forests, and had the best childhood in the world. Until the wild 90s came, the transformation collapsed, and the capitalism consumption mania took its course. Under the high pressure of times of upheaval, she became a rough diamond in search of harmony, with an unintentionally strong and, due to tough circumstances, also poetically tragic bright charisma. How could it be any different when she automatically experienced all the many contrasts and paradoxes of her tradition, origin, and generation? The power of the unruly taiga, the intuitive wisdom of shamans, and the exuberantly cheerful confidence of Soviet collectives, united in Mother's golden-colored heart amber. And the bitterly disappointed desire for freedom, the unexploited educational heritage, the fatalistic world weariness of the Decembrists, but also the brutality and madness of displaced persons and outlaws blazing mercilessly in her father's black chest onyx. Trimmed by the ambitious Olympia preschool learning concept of daycare center number 33, and driven by an enormous intrinsic thirst for knowledge. She taught herself to read at the age of 5 by experimenting with 3 tubes of gouache and brown kindergarten modeling clay. She understood straight away the power of imagination and eagerly absorbed the rainbow-colored world of literature. And provided the very initial spark for her fervent creative power. She saw and felt the brilliant magical spirit of folk tales, the forest green morality of Krylov's fables, the steel-gray mental torments of the masterpieces by Dostoevsky, Hesse, and Kafka. In no time at all, she became a Siberian Pippi Longstocking and learned how to twist her world to her heart's content. Since then, she combines words with colors and shapes, speaks in pictures and paints and stories. She continues to learn every day, and even as an adult, she perceives the world in a highly sensitive and at least kinesthetic way. In this way, with gratitude and breathless excitement, she immerses herself daily anew in unknown practices, haptics, gustatory, and olfactory sensations. as well as in other exciting feelings and senses. Always with her head first, she loves the globality, grasps connections, correlations, and causalities with a grateful, "Oh!" Loving to lose herself in details in the next blink of an eye, then relaxing and allowing herself to fall down into the infinite rabbit hole, and to celebrate the tingling of the still inexperienced. Whether while traveling or in the freedom of love, her insatiable thirst for knowledge led her as a 20-year-old economics and German linguistic student to the source of German poets and thinkers. Straight to the wonderful city of Marburg and Durlan, where she met her husband and built a family nest with him. Her master's degree in intercultural communication and European studies gave her the foundation for her research in the field of interpersonal relationships. She practices and celebrates these know-how in diverse regional and international work projects. She lived in Irkutsk, Fulda, and Berlin before moving to Bayreuth in 2015. Here she worked as the head of the International Summer University and then as a quality manager in a research network of the Africa Multiple Cluster of Excellence, until she turned her back to the dreary, paralyzing security and the golden cage of public service, opened an art gallery in the hotspot city center, and became an artist. Her pop-up studio Joy 7 became a 13-month test of courage and brought her fame and honor. There she exhibited her own artworks and works by artist friends, offered art puzzle tours, organized cultural events, black-lighted readings, and fantasy creativity workshops. "My art is not what I mean by it, but what happens to you in the process of connection to it," she told each of the many, often intimidated visitors. Free, spontaneous crafting, joyful arts and aesthetics, building a frame beyond money and greed, simply beautiful. The local press writes this about her. Perhaps similar to her short stories, her artworks are full of contrasts. In weird tonalities, a neon pink and a neon blue, which harmonize again in the overall picture. She talks like a book, laughs like a wild horse, and transforms every complex into strength. Circumnavigating conflicts and ignoring modesty or restrictions, mentally equipped with psychoanalysis, sexology, positive thinking, and lots of strong affirmations. Steeled by yoga and dancing sports, unyielding and tough, always further, higher, and deeper. In training, her unrelenting stubbornness leads to nasty strains and hematomas, especially from craft ballet and archery. Hard on the edge of self-destruction, in the service of goals and almost to the point of exhaustion. But never mind, because she enjoys the good fortune of having fantastic teachers, trainers, mentors, and comrades in arms throughout her life. With their sometimes kind, sometimes brutal support, she can meditate on the path of neon-colored knowledge regardless of the consequences. The toughest of all sparring partners is her first husband, Thomas, an intelligent beast in the gentle guise of an erudite geographer, to whom she owes her Pressure Makes Diamonds career and her fulfillment as a mother of 3. Her fantastic children, 3 gloriously bright second migration wave Ruchen, are her pride and joy forever. Her specialities and her field of study are the interpersonal communication as a whole and the reciprocity in particular. She always draws her knowledge-creating questions and inspiration from her encounters with people. People and humanity are her greatest fascination. Mutual multiple mirrors, the colorful, dancing sunlight spots of the giant disco ball in her lovely universe. The beauty of humanity and the lights of love, which she is constantly and repeatedly mirrored. This is her stage and her favorite choreography forever. She feels called by fate to dance this dance to the end and to create maximum diversity through her art. And to share this expressive dance extensively and uninhibitedly with her environment, preferably in the frenzy of an everlasting party. That's why she can't help but open all the floodgates and give freedom to the exciting flow of her creativity. With colors, shapes, lines, movements, words, metaphors, illusions, sounds, tones, rhythms, and series of associations. In her essays, she practices hair small perception, indulges in eroticism, and devotes herself to exploring connections. In her poetry, she moves with cycles and seasons. Sometimes she takes off with ease, becomes a pink cloud, and ecstatically touches the sun. Sometimes she plunges into the deepest icy gorges, to burn through all the fossilization and ultimately through the liquid metal fire inside with the help of her sweethearts and friends. And then to emerge in another aggregate state of opposites on the flip side of the moon, refreshing itself in the foaming bliss of the cooling whoops and finding itself anew from myriad elements, as the mercurial calm of an alpine mountain lake, for example, to become the mirror of everything for an infinite moment and simultaneously being the vibration of the next change. Her debut published work, Tanz der Ideen, Dance of Ideas, became such an opening of the floodgates thanks to the Heimatmacher writing workshop. The short story is a kind of summary, a conspectus of her feelings, realizations, and thoughts after her 40 seconds midlife point of no return. Inspired by the teachings of Murakami and Kundera, she wanted above all to break the spell of the heavy literature of her life book, to date, The Master and Margarita by Bulgakov. In this way, she exuberantly took Margarita's flight to Satan's ball and used it as a stylistic device for the break with the old worn-out beliefs and the departure to the new, sparkling neon metamorphoses. When the signs are favorable, when the floodgates are wide open through the magic of self-love and love of others, she paints and writes for nights on end, freeing herself from fears and exaggerating wildly in the process. True to the old punk motto, it's gonna escalate thus anyway. Brutal honesty, overstatement, and self-irony are her hobby horses, her beloved trinity, her perfect team. It continues with the practice of crossing borders and traveling outside the comfort zone where the magic happens. Twee! She is. The powerful Aristotelic affirmation throbs incessantly under her skin. MBWSTW, she says to her reflection in the mirror every morning, 3 times with eyes wide shut. Namaste, Mama's tea, and already her messenger is ringing, all the signs and wonders are happening. Whether high fashion in Berlin or every kind of doing arts in buried city, live acts at artists' events and conventions, sculptures in neon and tape, lino prints and lovely crazy fashion design for Joy 7 Psycho collection, from BT City with love and appreciation. Events and festivals to just celebrate every moment of life. Everything grows, thrives, and fertilizes each other. My beauty will save the world, she thinks happily before falling asleep, smiling to herself, feeling connected to her loved man and dreaming of giant world peace. Before dawn, as recommended by Lenin, her eyes open on their own, and all the learning, making, and doing immediately resumes. There is so much to do. Welcome to the 5 a.m. club. Sporadic amnesia and multilingual dyslexia are her constant whips and cause for a lifetime of Googling. She loves the constant surfing and feels like a rainbow fish in the digital ocean. She's not afraid to expose herself to the robotic zeitgeist. Wikipedia, complete transparency, and global online networking are ultimately a mega win. Because that way she can immediately and simultaneously quench her thirst for knowledge, develop multi-successful projects, trade NFTs, and connect with anyone who's anyone. And on top of that, thanks to this miracle of technology, the internet, she no longer has to worry about life in the afterlife. Because she knows for sure that her faithful artificial intelligence will take care of it eagerly and expertly. It will be so beautiful and never over, Maria. It whispers in every gust of wind, "Don't worry. Just love and be happy." So at least she doesn't have to worry about life after death because she loves and lives in the here and now, enjoying her life in full trains. Her big dream is to refilm the Trans-Siberian class trip of 1991 and to travel home to her talent's origins, her artist family in Irkutsk on Lake Baikal. Together with all her favorite people, children, partners, her beloved man, her sweethearts, sisters, friends, and girlfriends, in a 7-week glittering celebration of love on the Tsar's golden train.